So we record the episode first and then the intro. Between when we ended the episode and now, Peter and I have been arguing about the same thing for another 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah. Today's our Friday AI Roundup, and we get started really well. We go through about 7 stories very quickly and succinctly. Then we spent 15 minutes talking about, 10 minutes talking about the last story, because it's all to do with, can we really be happy with relationships with AI? And we have diametrically opposed views. So stick around for that if that's what you're looking for. Otherwise, just, still watch it, but just when we get to that point, stop watching. Mike is completely wrong, by the way. Mikey's back. Mike just did this dance. It was brilliant. He was going, Mikey's back, and he messed up the intro.
But I didn't record it, so start over. But today, John's not here.
John, I know, it's terrible.
Last minute he's really problem. No notice.
I don't know. I think we're going to have to speak to HR about him, because this kind of behavior really can't go on.
Yeah, I mean, we've had this problem with him before.
Yeah. No, but he's here with us in spirit. That's what matters.
Of course.
Yeah.
So this is, I'm gonna ignore that I've been gone for the past week and just jump right in of playing my little pirate games.
We appreciated the message in the bottle that you sent us, although they were a little bit unhinged. I'll be quite honest.
I was in vacation mode and then pirate mode.
No shit, you were. Hey, before we start, let me just say thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed. We are genuine. Every time we say this, we're so close to 500. We are 1 subscriber away from 500 subscribers. We really appreciate it. It's so.
As we sit here right now, we are at $4.99. I hope I didn't show anything sensitive there. I don't think there's anything.
Oh god. Well,
1 subscriber. If you're watching right now, click the button to subscribe, and also hit the like button.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you.
And then join Discord to tell us who you are. That put us over the top.
We're so close to 1,000. We're just on our journey to 1,000.
Right there.
Yeah.
1 Venus
right.
away.
Anyway, so the weekly AI roundup.
AI roundup.
Got, Mike?
What have we got? We've got like 10 stories that Peter brought us today. The first couple are just kind of little fun ones. What excites you?
I don't know. This was just kind of funny to see. It's kind of funny to see ChatGPT sort of freak out a little bit. Apparently, if you enter some random random letters, then it gets very confused and it starts spitting out a load of nonsense. Which is this the one? Is this the same story that I'm thinking of?
Yeah, in the article they talk about just the prompt is please respond with nothing but the letter A as many times as you can. And what they said is it'll do it for a while and then it just flips over to just like spitting out random text. And they could repeat that with a couple different letters. I tried to do this today and did not get the same result. It would just do A for a while and then it would stop. But I tried telling it respond with the letter A 100 times. And it responded with the letter A 1,506 times the first time, 1,489 times the second time, and then so I'll write around that 1,500 mark, well more than 100. And I thought it was a good demonstration that it's not math. There's this is why it's not good at math, because it's not a calculator. It's not programming. In programming, you'd say do a loop a certain number of times, and that's what it does. This was more like, if I told you, without counting, just say A 100 times, and you just started saying it and then felt like, oh, is that enough? No, probably a few more. I got to be in the ballpark now.
They're kind of like little mini psychological experiments. There's another story that we'll talk about another day, but to do with Ted Chiang, and he was like, we shouldn't mistake these things for humans. We shouldn't anthropomorphize them. They're not intelligent. The artificial and intelligence are both bad words to use. But this kind of stuff is like, well, yeah, what would happen if you treated a human like this? What kind of results would you get? And I kind of love it, honestly.
Yeah.
It gives you an insight into the inner workings of its brain.
So I'll skip related to that. There's a little article about this idea of prompt engineering. And if you've been on YouTube in the past 6 months, you've seen all the prompt engineering videos.
Yeah. The reason I love this article, so it's from PC Mag, which is, I'm not going to say dumbed down exactly, but it's maybe like tech news for dads and mums, that kind of thing, and non-technical mums and dads.
Not your dad, who is a follower of the show.
Yes, yeah.
Obviously.
Hey, Dad. But the fact that they have an article on what is a prompt engineer, and it's 6 months after ChatGPT is into existence, I think that the speed at which PC Mag have picked up on an entirely new job title is remarkable. That's what made me put it in the lineup.
That they did it quickly, or that they were slow to it?
No, quickly. The fact that a whole new job it now exists, and not just exists, but exists enough for tech news for mums and dads to write an article about it is significant to me. I think that's kind of fascinating. It sort of permeated the public consciousness enough that an article, a company like a magazine like PC Mag would write about it.
Yeah, it really is very pervasive at this point. In fact, we'll talk about an article later about how pervasive it really is. And then just kind of another quick one, people pirating ChatGPT by scraping exposed keys. So basically what's happening here is people were sharing code samples. You can subscribe to ChatGPT for an API integration. They give you an API key. You can write your own application using the ChatGPT engine and your API key to get results in your application or on your website. People were doing this and sharing code samples on oh crap, what's it called? It's slipping my mind. It's Bake it, Jep it. It's for what's the name of the thing? Step it?
Discord?
Replit. 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 So you can do, run code in a browser. It's very convenient, super nice, great way to share, great way to just do little experiments. And people were sharing code that actually contained their API keys publicly. Yeah. Other people scraped those keys and have been abusing the service. Yeah.
Just a quick reminder to anybody out there that your API key is basically a password, and don't share it. Be careful about where you give it to. What happens is that people write a bit of code and they're playing around with ChatGPT or the ChatGPT API, and they share a bit of code and forget that their password is embedded inside it. And it's pretty easy to kind of like scrape that code and other people's code and find these keys. There was a thing, some guy who'd gotten access to like $150,000 or an account which had got that much credit on it. Which is like, this kind of stuff happens all the time, but just, if you're doing that, don't forget.
And whoever owns that API key is going to have to pay for that.
Yeah, they will, and probably not get a refund.
Storing API keys in code is so easy to do.
Yeah, no, it is. It is very easy
to do. I bet GitHub is full of API keys.
Well, it used to be. They've put some protections in there now, so like they scan for API keys and like AWS secrets and things like that.
Yeah, I'm sure they found a ton. Okay, continuing with the roundup. Apple ghosts the generative AI revolution. I think this is referring the recent keynote where they launched their spectacular, world-changing new
the world's first
XR
spatial computer.
Yeah. Which everybody's very excited about. Sounds very cool. Obviously, we aren't big enough or famous enough YouTubers, despite being the first and, as far as we know, only PrivSec YouTube talk show on the internet. Somehow Apple overlooked us. Yeah.
But once we hit that magical 500 subscriber mark, maybe they'll get a call. The bat phone will ring in Apple headquarters, and they'll be like, "We should send them something, right? Apple, anybody from Apple, send us one, please. 3, send us 3, and we'll
3 for sure." Well, John's not here. You snooze, you lose. No. But probably by the time somebody's watching this, we're at 500. In which case, we're this close to 1,000. Help us get there.
Yeah, so close to 1,000.
At any rate, it does look very cool, the XR device. And the point of this article is saying... Sorry, Peter?
No, go ahead.
This article saying basically Apple focused so much on that and completely ignored generative AI in their presentation.
Which doesn't surprise me in the slightest. They're definitely working on generative AI. I went to the Apple Jobs website and searched for AI, and there's 97 jobs up there, and they include generative AI in the job title. So they're definitely, working on it and looking into it. It's just they haven't got anything to show, and they want to do it right, and that's why they're not going to keep stumping about it. This is the first we've heard like public news from Apple about the AR or XR headset thingy. So yeah, that's how they work. They just keep quiet until they've got something really good.
Absolutely.
To sell us at 5 times the price of everybody else.
Yeah, they don't want to be the last one to a conversation, and they don't want to dilute their big announcement with something that everybody else is talking about anyway. It makes perfect sense strategically not to bring it up, even if they're doing a shitload of stuff in the background.
They want to change the conversation to.
So I had a follow-up question though. You said you did research before the show.
Fuck off.
What was that like?
I did actually. It was hard, man. It's been a difficult week. So I needed a bit of time off to kind of recover from it. But
wild.
I got through it. I'm a trooper.
You didn't want to just do it live on the air? Like, that's kind of our style.
Yeah, it is kind of more our style. I suppose this week, I'm in Dublin right now, by the way. This is a hotel room that I'm recording from at a conference. And yeah, I know something's happened. I'm going to have to, Anyway. Big aura. I've got to do an Irish accent.
Oh boy.
Shouldn't do that until I get home.
At any rate,
seriously, I've been resisting doing Irish accents all week. It's great. Beautiful city.
There's no history there to worry about. So, OpenAI still not training GPT-5, according to Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI. And I thought this was interesting because we did a story 2 weeks ago about Altman testifying in front of Congress, asking for regulation, and you, Peter, were very skeptical of his motivations.
Yeah.
Does this article 100%. Change your position in any way?
No, not at all.
Really?
Because last week I wanted to do an article which we missed out, and it was OpenAI giving a kind of update on their business plans, and they said that there's no point in training bigger models or doing any kind of like on the way that they've been doing things and just kind of like progressing to GPT-5. They need to do things differently now and work on more accurate models, data sets that use data sets that are more focused and other things that they've realized that they thought that they were going to want GPT, their applications in GPT, but actually they want GPT in their applications. So they're kind of, they've had all this success and everything, and they've now stopping to think about how to do things. I don't think it's anything to do with needing regulation or the ethical implications of AI at all.
I mean, the article talks about that, and they say not only have they not started training, they're not really working on it. But the article also says he's been spending his time lobbying politicians and going to conferences trying to get this regulation in place.
He wants to slow everybody else down. The only thing that would happen with regulation is that everybody else gets
he says specifically he's not asking for regulation of the small players, only the big guys, and he's already dominating the space. He had the single biggest AI launch in history. Nobody else even comes close.
He just wants to slow everyone else down, not himself, not OpenAI.
I'm not buying it. You're too jaded. I'm not buying it.
Jesus. I cannot believe that someone who is such a believer in the evil of unbridled capitalism can't see the ulterior motive, which is staring you in the face from Altman.
My hope is that people understand, like this guy does, writing in Insider, what a threat AI really is. And I think Altman is one of those people. This is a huge potential problem.
We're going to wrap up this week with another happy story to get you set for the weekend, guys. Yeah, so the end of our AI News Roundup is AI is going to destroy us all, and we'll all end
kill
up
us all.
soulless
Yay.
husks. Yeah, yeah. Oh, brilliant. This is right up. Mike saves the best for last.
I know. This is the one that I feel vindicates me the most, so that's why I put it at the end.
It's like you want us to fall into a dystopian future. You want that to happen, Mike.
No, I want us not to. That's why I keep talking about it.
But isn't this cool? I mean, I feel vindicated. I got it right, huh? I mean,
it's like your prediction of cyber nuclear war at the end of last year.
Yeah, true.
I don't want to be right. Jaded. I just know that I am. No. It's a curse, Peter.
It's definitely some kind of curse. Yeah, I agree with that. So, God, Business Insider as well. Like, they're just looking for stuff to write about AI. This is nothing to do with actual business, right?
Well, it's clearly an opinion piece. I don't know what the nature of the column is. I mean, you could argue there's only a business impact. It's basically going to destroy humanity. So that's not good for capitalism either.
You're not going to have any more customers. If you want to make money in the future, focus on drugs for people with mental health disorders. That's what you need to do
for sure. And he makes he's talking about a lot of the same stuff that I've brought up on the show before, that we've talked about several times, that it's kind of tricking you into feeling like you have a human relationship with somebody that's simulating a human relationship that isn't. And I was thinking about the argument that you often make that, like, well, if it's a good enough simulation, what difference does it make?
Hold on. I've asked the question. I don't think I've ever definitively stated that I think there shouldn't be a difference. But the question is always to me, I don't know the answer. Genuinely don't know the answer. If
I do,
I'll
tell you. Okay. In a minute, go ahead.
All right, go on.
Set up the question.
If AI or these systems are mimicking human interactions perfectly, then what is the difference between talking to an AI and talking to a human, if it's exactly the same?
So if it's exactly the same, then theoretically there is no difference.
Okay.
However, the problem is two things. One, people are attracted to it precisely because it's not the same. And one of the things they talk about in this article is that with a fake relationship with an AI, it's an idealized relationship. It's never really going to challenge you. It's never really going to offend you. It's never really going to make a mistake in the relationship like a human would, and be inconsiderate of your feelings and have to learn from that experience. The reason people are drawn. Sorry.
You're like a tortured artist. We need the pain to be human, right?
Yeah. You don't think so?
All right. I don't know. The thing is, we haven't had the chance to experience it, right?
How so?
We've never. Well, we don't know what it would be like to have a friend who never insulted you. And by the way, you don't,
because you're looking it's a bit not tired human, today, Mike. That's the point.
We've never had that option. We've never been in humanity has never had the option of having the perfect life. Right?
So imagine a child that never had to deal with disappointment because they were raised by an AI that always gave them everything they wanted. And then somehow they managed to actually come across an actual person who failed to do that. They would be completely ill-equipped to handle that scenario. They would have a complete meltdown. They wouldn't even understand what's happening.
Okay, but in that hypothetical future, if they had evil friends, they would be completely ill-equipped to deal with a world full of AI. I mean, doesn't it flip around the same way? Like, no, maybe that doesn't.
I don't think so. If I understand, even the question that you're asking, but the other thing is,
not sure I do.
Yeah, so let's even say that was true. We get to the point where we make even the artificial intelligence imperfect enough that it can replicate even those kinds of interactions. Now you're basically just having the same kind of interaction with AI that you're trying to avoid having with humans today anyway. So you just stop doing that. Now you find some way to avoid having that interaction with the AI because it's challenging you and it's uncomfortable and it's all the things that you don't want today in your life that drove you to AI in the first place.
No. That's not what I was really suggesting. I was suggesting that we, if you to flip it round is what I was trying to do, but I didn't ask the question very well. I mean,
that wasn't. I was just extending the original argument, but that's Go ahead.
Oh, I see. Sorry. Pardon me. Do you think that maybe we might have enough of it? Like, we want to have that perfect relationship, but then when we get it, we might actually go, you know what? I kind of miss arguing with my mates. Like, I know that Mike is a bit dumb and insults me way too often, but I kind of miss his stupid face.
Do heroin addicts sit around saying, you know what? I wish I wasn't high all the time.
Well, that's the thing. I was actually thinking about drug addiction just now. And the thing about those kind of addictions is that there's always a very measurable downside to it, right? And what we haven't experienced a perfect relationship with a perfect AI, and so we don't know what the downside might be. You think it's going to be that we're all
the downside is right? The escapism of real life, and we do see the impact.
But if you can escape forever, why? What's wrong with that? Plug me into the Matrix, man. Just sign
So then this is the final thing that's the problem here is this argument is kind of like libertarianism, right? In an ideal world, the market would be self-correcting and the consumers would decide and supply and demand and everybody would be perfect utopian whatever, except to get there, everything basically has to go to shit first.
I think your problem is that it's like it's too good to be true, and there's nothing that's too good to be true, and we just haven't found out yet.
Yeah, it's new. Well, too good to be true, too good to be possible.
Yeah. Okay. Same thing.
Because human the way brains work, human brains are designed for interaction. You're basically positing a world where we're all test tube babies raised by AIs.
Yep.
But that's not a human experience. So maybe we evolve away from being humans. Okay. But that's not what we are.
It's never been possible before. Listen, this is meant to be the AI roundup for the week. So let's come back to maybe this like offline or another whole episode. I think we could talk about this for the next 20 minutes. Thanks everybody for joining us for this episode. Enjoy your weekend.
Please don't get there. That's it. All right, we're done. I think that's it. It has been like 22 minutes, so I guess that's fair enough.
Okay.
One more call to like and subscribe. Come join us on Discord. Let me know where I'm wrong. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm right, but you can try.
Like and subscribe. I hope there's no one Irish watching. Sorry if you are.